How's it going, everyone? This is Tokyo Avalanche here, and in this video I'll be doing a ranking of all the import figures of Miles Morales that have been released up to this point in 1/12 action figure form. Now, we've gotten some really great releases for Miles Morales, ranging from SH Figuarts to Mafex to Sentinel, and I will be ranking all of my favorites, starting from the least best to my absolute favorite. I'll go ahead and get started and rank from my least favorite to my absolute favorite. And starting from the least best, I had to give it to the SH Figuarts version of Miles. Don't get me wrong, this figure is really good in a lot of areas, but there are some glaring issues here that really hold this figure back a lot, and I will go over that here in a sec. But I'll start with the positives first. I do like the overall build of him. He is very slim, as he is in the movie of Across the Spider-Verse. He's very slender, so I like that part of it, that they got the accuracy of it right. The overall finish on him looks good. It has some texturing to him, which is nice. The articulation is there. You can get him into his Spider-Man-like poses, so that poses no issues in that department. Let me get the box out of the way here. So the figure itself is pretty good, but there are two major issues that I have with this, and I'll start with one of his accessories. Now, when you get Miles, you would think that with all Spider-Man figures, they would come with at least a pair of fist hands. Unfortunately, Miles does not get included with any fist hands. Why Tamashii thought that was a good idea to not include pairs of fists with Spider-Man is beyond me. The same issue arises with the Spider-Gwen as well. She also did not come with pairs of hands, so that is a major drawback for me with this figure. I mean, if you're going to put him in some fighting poses, I mean, the best you can do is just probably bitch slap people, but you can't get him to punch anyone unless you use his web holding hands, but even that will look awkward. So that's my first issue with this guy. And then my second issue, which is probably the biggest issue with him, is the overall quality of him. There have been a lot of reports of him being very fragile, and that is the case here. The joints here aren't as sturdy as they should be, being that this is an import company. You would think that they would get it right with the overall quality of the plastic. But unfortunately here, Miles does not have the best durability. On here with my left leg, the left leg here is very loose, or I wouldn't say very loose, but it is pretty loose due to the overall stress marks that were implemented on here. I don't think you'll be able to see that on camera here, but there are some stress marks on the overall joint of the leg here, more so on my left leg. As I was posing this guy, for some reason it just kind of gave out in the middle when I was putting him into some pose like Spider-Man poses, and just the stress marks created this indentation that the legs doesn't want to balance him right here. I'm very upset about that because I do like this figure a lot. I do love Across the Spider-Verse look a lot more than his original look in Into the Spider-Verse, but the figure itself could have been done a lot better here. Like I said, the quality control on the plastic is a big issue here. Now, I know this guy is going to get a reissue sometime next year. Hopefully, they improved on the plastic. That will probably prompt me to pick another one up, which I more than likely will because I do love this figure a lot. But it's just those two things that hold this figure back for me is the inclusion of not having any fist hands and with him, and the overall QC of the plastic. So this guy is sitting as my least favorite. Not to say that this is a bad figure, because it's not. It's just that those two issues here really set this guy behind from the rest of his counterparts. So I'll move on to the second part. And start from the second least best. This actually may come as a surprise for a lot of people, considering people say this is the cream of the crop when it comes to Miles Morales figures. And those people aren't wrong, don't get me wrong. This figure is indeed fantastic. I think this figure is like one of the best action figures ever. But the reason why it's still sitting low on my list, there are two, maybe three main issues I have with this figure that prevents it from being at the top, which I'll go over here in a bit. But I do want to share some positives about this guy because there are a lot of positives about him. So the overall articulation, that's what this guy is mainly known for. People say it's the best articulated Spider-Man figure ever. That's highly debatable. It's definitely up there as one of the all-time best Spider-Man figures. The articulation on this guy is just so smooth. It's so very smooth. Like every time you pose him, it just feels like butter that you're just messing around with. It's very smooth to handle. The quality on him is just fantastic. I feel like this is the best built for Miles for all the import figures, in my opinion. The quality on them just feels great. It definitely feels like a premium figure, which is it should be, and these guys just knocked it out of the park. This guy is absolutely amazing. So articulation on him is the biggest strong suit here. I don't complain about people saying this is the best Miles figure, but for me, the reason why this guy is sitting at the second least best figure is there are two main issues here. The first one being is the unmasked head for Miles. I am not a fan of it whatsoever. I felt like that should be one of the big strong suits here, but unfortunately, the unmasked head for Miles just looks way too cartoonish for me. Doesn't even look like Miles in my opinion. Just the eyes look really bad in my opinion, and I'm just not a fan of it at all. Granted, the other Sentinel Spider-Man figures, especially Gwen, do not have good unmasked heads, but Miles here in particular, I'm just not a fan of. But aside from that, this figure is still great. My second main issue is the overall accessory pack for the interchangeable outfits with the iconic hoodie and shorts. I'm not a fan of the hard plastic they have to use, and you have to disassemble this figure to get them into that look. And plus with the hoodie look, it has that windswept look to it, which I just prefer a normal droop down look. So you basically, if you want to have him in that outfit, he has to be in an aerial stance. I'm not a fan of that either. So I felt like cloth goods could have gone a long way with this guy, really elevated this figure even further. But other than that, this figure is indeed top tier. It's just not ranked as my definitive Miles Morales figure. Don't get me wrong, I'm very happy that I still have this figure in my collection, and I love posing him around and getting him into some aerial poses, but those two main issues just prevent him from being at the tippity top for me as my definitive Miles Morales figure. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Now, starting with my favorites, my second favorite here is the Mafex Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse. I absolutely love this figure. I think this is as close to perfect as you're going to get with a good teen Miles Morales figure. I think the accuracy on him is on point. The unmasked head looks good. I would say this is the second best unmasked Miles Morales head. The first being the Figuarts version. I think that is like perfect, but the Mafex version is still great as well. But the overall figure is fantastic. I really love this figure a whole bunch. Let me get the box out of the way and I'll go ahead and showcase some of the pros on this guy. So, like I mentioned, the pros here are the soft goods on his overall outfit. The jacket looks great. It kind of has that poly, or yeah, kind of has that soft goods feel to it, polyester look, shiny, so it looks like it could be like a windbreaker in a sense, but it looks really good. I like this figure, the soft goods on it a whole bunch, the jacket especially. The shorts are really good. It doesn't feel cheap on either the shorts or the jacket, so that's good. Threading is on point. The Jordans on them look really good too. No toe hinge, but that's all right though. You can't crease the Jordans, so I'm glad that they added that little detail in there, because you don't want to crease your Jordans. So yeah, the Jordans here look great, and it's easy to switch out. The overall build of him, the quality of the plastic is not as bad as people made it out to be. I think a lot of people were saying that it's very fragile and it tends to break easily. With my copy, I don't have that issue. Maybe I just got lucky and got a really good copy that isn't prone to breakage. But it seems like that is the overall issue with this guy. Thankfully, I don't have that, but it's still worth noting in case if you do have this figure and you did experience some of those problems. I think the overall build on this guy, as far as the plastic goes, is a lot better than the Figuarts version. The Figuarts version just felt like it was going to break in your hands, basically, when you pose it around. I don't get that feeling with this guy, and I'm glad that I don't, because this is definitely my favorite look of the Spider-Verse Miles Morales for sure. Now the cons that I have with this guy, not that much, but I do want to point out I think he's a little bit too slim for my liking. The reason why I say that is because if you take his outfit off, he is very slim, like a little bit too skinny. I don't think he should be that skinny, but thankfully he does wear this outfit in the majority of Into the Spider-Verse, so I just keep this look on him. And if I want him in his regular Spider-Man outfit, I'll just use the Sentinel version because that looks a little bit better. But I love this figure in general. I think this is the best teen Miles Morales figure in the import line and the best looking Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse in my opinion. So with that being said, I'll go on and move on to my absolute favorite import Miles Morales figure. And last but not least, if you didn't already tell, my favorite Miles Morales import figure has to be the Mafex comic version of him. This is more of a adult slash college kid look to him. Which means it has a lot more bulk to him and more muscular than the Spider-Verse figures, which is not really a fair comparison since that's a completely new style and it's based on a kid version. But I'm getting off tangent here. I love this figure a whole bunch. This is my overall favorite look of Miles. The adult version just looks so badass and he looks very menacing, so that is a huge plus for me. Now, I want to go ahead and showcase the box here, and the reason why I say that is because there are bootlegs out of this guy, and that's due to the fact that this figure is out of print. This figure came out, I want to say like 2019, so it came out a while ago, and Mafex has never reissued this guy, so the aftermarket on him is just insane right now. So unfortunately, people have to resort to the bootleg version if they don't want to break the bank, which I really don't blame them, but you know, that's a topic for another video. But I just want to showcase that my figure here is not a bootleg, it's the real deal. It has the sticker of authenticity right there, and then it has all of the, you know, proper logos. It has the Mafex logo on the front, and then on the back here says Marvel right there on the bottom right hand corner, and it has Metacom. So it's the real deal. It's no bootlegs. I don't buy no bootleg figures over here. So getting to the main attraction here, this guy, like I said earlier, looks so badass. I love the overall look of him. The articulation on him is just outstanding. Doesn't feel brittle, feels very sturdy, and considering how old this figure is, it still holds up really well in today's market with import figures. I love the look of the muscular look of him. Just looks really great, very well proportioned. The unmasked head is by far my favorite feature on this guy. He just looks so badass, and then even the eye squinting mask head on him just looks so badass. Overall, I love this figure a lot. I really have no qualms to him, but again, that's just me being biased. I'm not one of those people that likes to nitpick on every single little thing if I don't have to. But you know, if there's a problem with the figure, I'll go ahead and showcase it. And this guy right here, I really don't have a problem with. He looks really good. He's fun to pose. Very fun to mix and match with different lines of figures. It doesn't have to be Marvel. You know, you can mix them in with your other anime figures, which like 95% of my collection is based on anime figures. I do have some Marvel figures, but mainly my figures are anime. So, and this guy blends in really well in that aspect. So he's overall a very versatile figure, and you know, I can't praise this figure enough. He's my absolute favorite Miles Morales figure as of right now. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and give my final thoughts on the whole Spider-Verse figures and just the Miles figures in general. Alright, so my final thoughts on all these figures from the import companies in 1/12 action figure form. These are the cream of the crop figures as far as Miles Morales goes. Like, these are absolute peak figures in my opinion, some of my favorite figures in my entire collection. I love all of them. They have their own little quirks to them, and they have their, you know, their downsides to them. So it's all opinion based on which figure you like best or not. You know, my opinion on these figures isn't going to reflect yours. If you tend to agree with mine, that's great. If not, you know, that's also fine too. But I just wanted to showcase, you know, some of the offerings that we have for Miles Morales here. You know, there's always room for more Miles figures. You know, the figures that I would really love to see here are definitely the Insomniac Spider-Man figures of Miles, especially Spider-Man 2, and then the Miles Morales game, obviously too. I would love like an alternate suit that I would like of Miles is definitely the Bodega Cat version. I think that looks absolutely amazing. If we'll ever get that, you know, very unlikely, which is unfortunate. But, you know, anything can happen. You know, we might see something from Figuarts. Figuarts might come in and release, you know, Sony Insomniac Spider-Man figures. That would be fantastic. They've done so in the past with the original Peter Parker figure. You know, they could do the same, you know, with Spider-Man 2, but it might just come down to licensing. I don't know. It's just, you know, a huge political thing behind it. But I just want to give my thoughts on these figures. I think these figures are freaking amazing. Some of the best in the line. And yeah, if you don't already have these figures, or if you don't have at least one of them, highly recommend going out there, picking one of these guys up. Or if you like me and you got to get them all, then I highly recommend doing that as well. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment what your thoughts are, and if you agree with my list or if you didn't, you know, let's have a fun conversation, and like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos, because I might just be pumping out more of these videos. I kind of enjoyed making these videos. So if you want to see more videos from me, you know, just let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the video. Have a good one.